Well, hello everybody. You can see I'm hot. It's not even 26 degrees, but still hot. I'm at the end of my tether. Permacultural techniques are wonderful, but they too rely on stable stable seasons, which we don't have. So we've got to find new ways to do it, right? So I want to film this. This is probably a waste of seed, but sowing the haricot from last year was a mistake because they're all just dying off from mosaic pathogen. So I just wanted to talk this through and see, Sam, if this works, mate, we're going to be a pea farmer. So what we're doing is we've got all the old peas that I've dried for about a week or so. See, pods are full. I was going to keep them for next year, but I really need some money soon. So I'm stamping this down, crunch, 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 so that they're at least close to the soil. I know I've got voles. And then what I'm doing with the fougere, with the bracken that my mate sorted out, I've chucked that on top, stamping that down. So I'm thinking, and then I'm going to water it heavily for like the night. I'm thinking, I did a little test, and it is possible. See, look at my salads, piece of shit. Amaranth is fine. They do actually germinate, and they do germinate well. Oi! I said no. Shit. So if I'm reckoning, if they just are wet enough and covered enough and in relative contact to something organic, they'll send their germ root down. Obviously I've got to cover these. They'll be populating as if they were in the wild. I've had a couple of harvests off them. Not a lot, but I've had, there's a lot of seed there. I know this is a risk, but see, those are another variety of salads that are just spaffed. And this whole garden is doing nothing. So I'm thinking, well, I've got all of this trim back now. I've got all of this biomass. So let's just see if we can't try and recreate a kind of natural environment for the peas. I'm not saying it's going to work. And I'm going to say, yeah, it's a waste of seed. But what if it works? And I think that is really what this garden ought to be about. I mean, if I'm just going to document crazy ways of doing stuff and it always fails, whilst at the same time doing, the way they do it, in the book as it were, as a comparison, then, maybe we can double the production of peas, because it ain't cold, and they're a quick grower, and they're good for the soil. So, and there's this little French phrase where peas and beans like to have, they like to be able to see you enough to wave goodbye after you've sown them. So they don't like being deep. And then if we get some rain, they're not going to rot. They must have evolved for some reason to have this pod formation. And yeah, I know we've domesticated them, which I think is part of the problem that we're all facing. No one's talking about it, but the domestication of plants is quite literally our problem. So I'm just gonna try a packet of seeds next year. It'll cost me a tenner if we get that far. If it works, I found something out new. If it doesn't, it's composting it. So anyway, I'm going to do that. So I'll keep myself posted.